The most self-destructive habit is something we rarely notice in ourselves. It sneaks in, disguising itself as harmless, even rational. It whispers doubts, fuels insecurities, and slowly chips away at our confidence. It's not procrastination, not laziness, not even fear, though it feeds all of them. It's comparison. We live in a world where we measure our worth by looking sideways. Social media, success stories, perfectly curated lives everywhere we turn. We are bombarded with images of people seemingly doing better, living happier, achieving more. And when we compare, we often feel like we are falling behind. This habit, this constant measuring of ourselves against others, is a silent thief of joy, a quiet destroyer of confidence, and a paralyzing force that keeps us from reaching our true potential. The problem with comparison is that it's never fair. We compare our behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel. We see the outcome of their hard work, but not the struggle, the failures, the moments of doubt. We see their victories, but not their sleepless nights, and yet we still believe we are inadequate because we haven't reached where they are. It doesn't matter if we're at the beginning of our journey and they're at their peak, we still feel like we are losing some invisible race. This habit is self-destructive because it creates a mindset of scarcity. If someone else is successful, we believe there's less success left for us. If someone else is happy, we believe our happiness is somehow diminished. We forget that life is not a zero-sum game. There is no limit to success, no cap on happiness, no restriction on fulfillment. Someone else winning does not mean we are losing. But comparison tricks us into believing that every step forward for them is a step backward for us. And here's the worst part, it makes us lose sight of our own path. When we focus too much on what others are doing, we stop paying attention to our own journey. We start making decisions based on their progress instead of what truly matters to us. We start chasing goals that were never ours to begin with. We set standards that have nothing to do with our values. And one day, we wake up wondering why we feel unfulfilled, despite achieving things that were supposed to make us happy. The irony is that the people we compare ourselves to are often comparing themselves to someone else. The person you admire, the one you think has it all together, is probably looking at someone else feeling the same insecurities, questioning their own worth. We are all caught in this endless cycle of looking outward for validation instead of looking inward for purpose. Breaking free from this habit requires a shift in perspective. Instead of measuring ourselves against others, we must measure ourselves against who we were yesterday. True success is not about being better than someone else, it's about being better than we used to be. Progress, no matter how small, is still progress. A step forward, no matter how slow, is still movement. And every single day that we learn, grow, and push ourselves even slightly beyond where we were is a victory worth celebrating. We must redefine success in a way that aligns with our own values, not society's expectations. Not everyone is meant to follow the same timeline. Some achieve things early, others take time. Some succeed in one area but struggle in another. And that's okay. The beauty of life is that there is no single path to fulfillment. The only thing that truly matters is that we are moving in a direction that is meaningful to us. We also need to remind ourselves that no one has it all figured out. Those who seem the most confident still have moments of doubt. Those who appear the most successful still have their struggles. And those who seem happiest still have their battles. The more we humanize others, the less power comparison has over us. The real question is, what do we truly want? Not what looks good to others. Not what gets the most likes, recognition, or validation. But what genuinely makes us come alive. Because at the end of the day, fulfillment doesn't come from being better than someone else. It comes from knowing that we are becoming the best version of ourselves. It comes from knowing that we are walking a path that feels right for us. Comparison will always be there. It's natural. But we don't have to let it control us. We don't have to let it dictate our happiness or define our worth. The moment we stop looking sideways and start focusing forward, the moment we stop measuring ourselves by someone else's journey and start embracing our own, is the moment we begin to truly thrive. So the next time you catch yourself falling into the trap of comparison, pause, take a deep breath, and remind yourself that your journey is unique, your pace is valid, and your progress is enough. Because when we let go of comparison, we make space for something far greater: contentment, confidence, and the freedom to become exactly who we are meant to be. Comparison is the most self-destructive habit because it operates silently, often unnoticed. While it erodes confidence, breeds dissatisfaction, and steals joy. It is one of the few habits that can take something inherently neutral or even positive awareness of others and twist it into something that diminishes our own sense of self-worth. The danger lies in how naturally it embeds itself into our thinking. It doesn't feel like a conscious choice. It happens in fleeting moments, in subtle glances at someone else's achievements, lifestyle, or appearance. It seeps into our thoughts when we scroll through social media, listen to someone else's success story, or even witness a friend accomplishing something we haven't. Instead of feeling inspired or motivated, we feel lacking. Instead of appreciating what we have, we fixate on what we don't. The problem with comparison is that it creates a distorted perception of reality. We see the polished version of others, the parts they choose to share, while we live every second of our own imperfect, messy lives. We know our struggles, failures, and insecurities intimately, but when we look at others, we rarely see theirs. Social media amplifies this illusion. People showcase their highlights, their promotions, vacations, milestones, and happiest moments while their struggles remain hidden. When we compare our unfiltered reality to someone else's curated version of life, we are bound to feel like we are falling short. This habit is self-destructive because it robs us of contentment. What once felt like a perfectly good life can suddenly seem inadequate when measured against someone else's. A person who was once proud of their job may feel like a failure after seeing a former classmate earn more or achieve something they haven't. Someone who is happy in their relationship may start questioning it after seeing seemingly perfect couples online. The irony is that nothing about their actual life has changed, only their perspective has. That shift in perspective, caused by comparison, is enough to make people dissatisfied with things they once loved. Comparison is also dangerous because it paralyzes progress. Instead of focusing on our own growth, we become obsessed with where we stand in relation to others. When we believe someone else is far ahead, we feel discouraged rather than inspired. If they make success look effortless, we assume we're not capable because we're struggling. We forget that struggles are part of every journey, even theirs. Instead of putting in the work, we waste time feeling inadequate, doubting ourselves and questioning our abilities. We hesitate to take risks or push forward because comparison convinces us that we are already behind. So why bother trying? It also breeds resentment, not just toward others, but toward ourselves. Seeing someone else excel can make us bitter, not because we don't want them to succeed, but because it reminds us of our own insecurities. We start believing that life is unfair, that others have advantages we don't, that we are somehow less deserving. It turns admiration into envy, making it difficult to genuinely celebrate others' achievements. Worse, it fosters self-criticism. Instead of appreciating our strengths, we fixate on our weaknesses. Instead of recognizing how far we've come, we only see how far we still have to go. Over time, this mindset erodes self-worth, making us feel like we are never enough no matter what we achieve. Another way comparison harms us is by shifting our focus from what actually matters. When we are consumed by how we measure up to others, we start making decisions for the wrong reasons. Instead of pursuing goals that align with our values and passions, we chase things that look impressive. Instead of defining success based on what fulfills us, we adopt someone else's definition. This can lead to a life that looks good from the outside but feels empty on the inside. We achieve milestones that were never truly ours, only to realize they don't bring the satisfaction we expected. We wonder why we still feel unfulfilled despite doing everything right. The answer lies in the fact that we were never moving toward what we genuinely wanted, only toward what we thought would make us seem successful in comparison to others. This habit also creates an illusion of scarcity. It makes us believe that success, happiness, or opportunities are limited, that if someone else gets ahead, there's less left for us. In reality, success is not a finite resource. There is enough for everyone, but comparison tricks us into thinking that someone else's progress means our failure, that someone else's happiness diminishes our own. This illusion leads to unnecessary stress and competition, making us feel like we are constantly racing against others rather than focusing on our own growth. Even worse, comparison can cause us to quit too soon. We see someone who is further along in their journey, and instead of being patient with our own progress, we feel discouraged. We start to believe we'll never reach their level, so we stop trying altogether. We forget that every successful person started somewhere, that they also had moments of doubt, that they also struggled. But because we don't see their struggles, only their achievements, we assume the gap is too wide, that success is only for them, not for us. The weight of comparison is exhausting. It keeps us constantly looking outward instead of inward. It convinces us that we are only as valuable as our achievements, as worthy as our social status, as successful as we appear to others. It takes away the simple joys of life: gratitude, self-acceptance, and the ability to be present in the moment. It keeps us chasing an ever-moving target, because no matter how much we achieve, there will always be someone ahead, someone doing more, someone making it look easier. The cycle never ends unless we make a conscious decision to step out of it. Life is not a zero-sum game. Yet so many of us operate as if it is. From an early age, we are conditioned to compare, to measure our progress against others, and to believe that success is a limited resource. The moment we see someone else winning, a part of us feels like we are losing. It's an invisible competition that we never agreed to enter, but somehow we find ourselves caught in it. The belief that someone else's success diminishes our own is not just false, it is deeply damaging. It fuels unnecessary stress, resentment, and self-doubt, making us feel like we are constantly falling behind, even when we are making progress on our own path. The zero-sum mindset is rooted in scarcity. It operates on the assumption that there is only so much success, happiness, wealth, or opportunity to go around. If someone else gets a promotion, we feel like there is one less spot available for us. If a friend starts a successful business, we feel like our own chances of success shrink. If someone in our field gains recognition, we feel like there is less space for our work to be valued. This scarcity-driven thinking keeps us in a constant state of competition, making us feel threatened rather than inspired by the achievements of others. The truth is, success is not a pie with limited slices. Someone else getting a slice does not mean there is less left for us. The world does not operate with fixed amounts of opportunity or accomplishment. More success in the world does not mean less success available. In fact, one person's success often creates more opportunities for others. When a company grows, it hires more people. When an entrepreneur builds something meaningful, it inspires others to take action. When an artist creates something remarkable, it elevates the entire creative industry. Success breeds more success. Instead of seeing it as a limited resource, we need to recognize that it expands when shared. One of the biggest dangers of the zero-sum mindset is that it leads to resentment. Instead of celebrating others, we feel bitterness. Instead of being happy for a friend's achievement, we feel like we have lost something ourselves. This resentment does not harm the person who is succeeding, it only harms us. It takes away our ability to feel joy, to appreciate our own journey, and to find inspiration in the success of others. It creates an emotional barrier that isolates us, making it harder to form meaningful relationships, seek mentorship, or collaborate with others. Instead of seeing successful people as sources of wisdom and motivation, we see them as threats. This mindset keeps us stuck, preventing us from learning, growing, and reaching our full potential. Another way this belief harms us is by keeping us focused on the wrong things. When we believe success is limited, we start chasing achievements that are not even aligned with our true goals. We begin pursuing things simply because we don't want to feel like we are losing. We feel pressure to reach certain milestones at a certain time, not because they truly matter to us, but because we are afraid of being left behind. This leads to a life driven by external validation rather than internal fulfillment. We may accomplish things, but they don't bring us joy because they were never our true aspirations to begin with. The reality is, no two people have the same journey. We all have different starting points, different strengths, different challenges, and different definitions of success. Someone else achieving something does not take away our ability to achieve what is meant for us. The timeline of our lives is unique, and progress looks different for everyone. Some people achieve massive success early while others find their path later in life. Some people build wealth quickly while others take longer. Some people rise in their careers rapidly while others take detours. There is no single definition of success, and there is no single path to achieving it. When we stop treating life like a competition, we free ourselves from unnecessary pressure and allow ourselves to pursue what truly matters. Collaboration and support are far more powerful than competition. When we stop seeing others as rivals and start seeing them as allies, we open doors to new possibilities. Learning from those who are ahead of us accelerates our own growth. Supporting others on their journey strengthens our own network and community. Helping someone else succeed does not reduce our chances of success, it increases them. The most successful people understand this. They surround themselves with like-minded individuals, uplift others, and recognize that mutual growth benefits everyone. They know that when one person rises, they can bring others with them. Shifting away from the zero-sum mindset requires intentional effort. It means wiring the way we react to the success of others. Instead of feeling threatened, we can train ourselves to feel inspired. Instead of feeling envious, we can remind ourselves that their success does not take away from ours. Instead of focusing on where they are, we can focus on where we are going. Practicing gratitude for our own journey helps shift the focus away from comparison. Recognizing our own progress, no matter how small, reminds us that we are not behind, we are simply on a different path. The more we understand that life is not a competition, the more we can embrace our own journey without fear or doubt. The success of others does not take away from our own potential. In fact, it often serves as proof that more is possible. It shows us what can be achieved. It expands our vision of what we are capable of. The only person we should be competing with is the person we were yesterday. The only progress that truly matters is the progress we make in our own lives. Progress is a deeply personal journey, yet so many people measure it by looking at others instead of looking at themselves. The habit of comparing our progress to someone else's timeline is one of the quickest ways to feel inadequate. It creates a false sense of failure, making us believe that we are behind even when we are moving forward. True progress is not about surpassing someone else, it is about surpassing who we were yesterday. The only real measure of growth is looking back and seeing how far we have come, not how far someone else has gone. The danger of measuring progress by external standards is that no two people start from the same place. Everyone has a different background, different resources, different challenges, and different strengths. Comparing progress without considering these factors is like comparing two runners in a race where one started miles ahead. It does not make sense to judge our growth by someone else's achievements because we do not share the same path. So what looks like slow progress in comparison to others may actually be incredible growth when compared to our own past self. One of the biggest problems with external comparison is that it shifts focus away from improvement and toward competition. It makes progress feel like a race rather than a journey. Instead of celebrating personal wins, people diminish their accomplishments because they don't seem as big as someone else's. A person who used to struggle with confidence may have made great strides in speaking up, but if they compare themselves to someone who is already a charismatic speaker, they might feel like they haven't improved at all. A person who has finally started working out consistently may feel proud until they see someone with years of fitness experience. This constant comparison robs people of the ability to appreciate their own growth. Growth is most accurately measured by looking at where we started and where we are now. A person who once avoided challenges but now takes them on with courage has grown. A person who once hesitated to take risks but now embraces new opportunities has progressed. A person who once struggled to manage emotions but now responds with patience has improved. These are the measures that matter. Small steps forward may not look significant in comparison to someone else's journey, but they are massive in the context of personal growth. Measuring progress against past self also allows for a deeper sense of motivation. When people focus on their own growth, they build momentum. Every step forward fuels the next step. The process becomes about personal mastery rather than external validation. When progress is based on comparison to others, motivation becomes fragile. It depends on outperforming someone else, which is an endless and exhausting pursuit. But when progress is measured internally, every small improvement is a victory, and every step forward is encouragement to keep going. Another advantage of looking inward for progress is that it builds self-confidence. When people constantly compare themselves to others, they feel like they are never good enough. They see only what they lack instead of what they have gained. But when they track their own progress, they begin to see patterns of growth. They recognize challenges they have overcome, skills they have developed, and fears they have conquered. This recognition strengthens belief in their ability to improve, which leads to even more growth. Confidence does not come from being better than others, it comes from knowing that one is better than they used to be. The journey of progress is different for everyone, and it is not always linear. Some periods of life bring rapid growth, while others bring slow, steady improvement. Sometimes progress even looks like standing still or taking a step back to realign with the right path. But when people measure progress against their past self, they allow themselves the space to grow at their own pace without the unnecessary pressure of keeping up with someone else. The most important thing is not how fast someone is moving, but that they are moving in the right direction. Hit like, subscribe, and keep the motivation going.